You gotta get into the groove.
Hey, welcome for another session of Groove. And as always, this is a all about e-commerce. My sessions. So good to have you here. If you can hear me, just put up. That would be good. If you can't and you don't put anything, then I probably think that you can't hear me. So, but if you can hear me, just put a 1. Anyway, we have Tyler at the moment in the chat. Thank you once again, Tyler, for supporting this, supporting these G Lives, GLUs, and it's good to have you here once again. All right, the session today is about WorldWideBrands.com, and if you haven't heard of it, it's been around for such a long time. I think it kind of started around about in the 90s. So it's actually been around for some time now. And I just see a few more people have joined the chat. Dr. Lisa, once again, thank you for being here and your support as well. And then we have James Toya. Thank you for being here. Just let us know where you're from, James. Oh, okay, sound is okay. That's cool. Awesome. What have we got here? We've got Tyra. Tyra's coming in from the USA, as well as Dr. Lisa coming in from Baltimore, Maryland in the USA. So good to have you guys here. All right, now, if this is your first time joining us for these sessions, then let me just explain what these are all about. So not only is it about the Groove Cart platform on groove.cm, but it's also about e-commerce in general, different platforms for various things. We have, so Jameis, thank you for letting us know where you're from. Jameis is from Birmingham, Alabama. All right, thank you for joining us today. So it's all about e-commerce, other platforms when it comes to print on demand. Also too, we're not going to be biased here because, it's good to actually have options. Also, we cover things like eBay. I will be kind of getting into the Amazon side of things. It's a little bit of I guess, probably a real deep subject, the Amazon one. I was an Amazon seller for some time there, and I felt it really, really restrictive in a lot of ways. And if you've been actually a part of Amazon, you probably know what I'm talking about, especially if you're a seller. Well, I was actually part of the. I'm selling, but I don't actually sell anything at the moment. So I do actually have an account as an Amazon seller, just in case I decide to go back into it again. Today is about worldwide brands, and let me just bring my screen up. Hopefully, you guys can see this. Again, if you can just give me a 1, let me know if you can see that. That'll be great. Now, I must remember that when I change tabs, that I actually need to do that on my end and show the tab that I'm actually changed to. So, yeah, if you don't see what I'm talking about on the tab, just give me a reminder in the chat, and I'll try and keep an eye on it. But I will try really hard to make sure that I change the tabs and you guys can see it at the same time. Awesome, thank you for all the ones. All right, so this is Worldwide Brands, and like I said, they have been around for some time now, and they have got a very, very extensive list of wholesalers, manufacturers, drop shippers, all that sort of thing. So basically, this is probably one of the biggest and the most the longest established. I guess sort of like drop shipping or manufacturing site directory in the world. And I actually have spoken to the founder of this, of WorldWide Brands, and which his name is Chris Malta. Very neat guy, and easy to contact or get hold of. So that was one of the reasons why I actually got into or joined up with WorldWide Brands. Now, before I carry on and we go through the walkthrough, there is a cost. It's not free, but there is a cost. I think you do actually get a free preview for WeWell. If I click on there, you can get that for a lot. What is it? I think it's about a week. I'm not too sure, but you can get a free preview. Maybe only one site. I'm not too sure. But if you want to try the free preview, you can click on that button up here. Otherwise, if you do want to join, then you can actually just go to Instant Access Now, and he has a one-time special, which is $187 USD. And you will get access, lifetime access to WorldWide Brands. Now, I guess one of the questions is, well, how long are they going to be around for? Well, it's pretty much been around since the 1990s. So you can sort of bet that it's going to be around for a lot longer too, as well. And of course, you just put all your details in there, and then you can actually you can be part of the WorldWide Brands. Let me go into my account, because I do actually have one. So I'm going to go into that, and I think you guys can still see that, which is cool. All right, so this is what you see when you get in here. So there's a few different things in here. He's got a few, he does actually do some training as well in terms of e-commerce. And his training is very, very extensive. Yes, it does cost. And it's not, it's a considerable amount, but I think the value that you get out of it would be really good. But that's up to you. It's something that you want to look into and find out for yourself. There's a lot of information on here that you can actually look into. So you've got also the free education series. Now, those are really, really helpful, especially some of the things that he talks about when it comes down to e-commerce. So he's not just a directory, but he's been involved with e-commerce for a very, very long time. And he's kind of one of the gurus when it comes to e-commerce. So as you can see here, we've got search wholesale suppliers. And the featured newest suppliers, obviously the free education series and the member resource series. So let's go through those a wee bit. Let's go through search wholesale suppliers. And immediately you've got kind of a list going on down here. And these are kind of like the featured. I think these are the featured ones. No, this is the wholesale suppliers. So if you're looking for maybe, let's just say, drop shippers and like bulk or import deals or even liquidation options, does anybody know what those are? Because they're actually like a lot of those are actually just pallet form type sort of products where you can, whatever you get, it's pretty much for whatever price you pay. It's kind of like a Kinder Surprise, to be quite honest. But you will probably get a lot of stuff in there that is far more valuable than the price that you would pay for it. And that's what these things are. Import deals. So if you're importing from overseas and into your own country, then that might be a handy one to look at. So you can see where this is going. This is actually quite an extensive range of various directories or suppliers, if you like. Also have liquidation wholesalers. And of course, you can put your own saved ones in there as well. We have, so what this generally means on the search options here is that if you're looking for light bulk only, now light bulk only would probably be something like if you're a seller on eBay or Amazon, platforms like that, where you can actually buy bulk at a cheaper price and get it sent into like the Amazon warehouse, where they might be able to package it, but it'll be at a cost. But it's always good if you can actually get it packaged to the right dimensions that Amazon actually provide for you, or different things, if you actually can get that done before you send it to Amazon, to the Amazon warehouse, because more often than not, it is quite expensive to do it through Amazon. Amazon has to do it, and it has to be done by the Amazon guidelines, or what they want as far as sizes go and all that sort of thing. There are quite a few fulfillment centers, is what they call them. They have like warehouses all over the place in the US, and you could always sort of look for a fulfillment center that's closer to where you're getting the supplies from. Even the manufacturers or the suppliers might be able to actually, do that side of it. It would be probably a little bit cheaper if they could do that and sort of package it to the right sizes for Amazon. But otherwise, if they can't, then there are fulfillment centers out there, which is generally cheaper. They are generally cheaper than Amazon. And then once that's all done, it gets sent to Amazon, to the nearest Amazon warehouse. And then obviously when people buy products from you, then Amazon will pick it out of your stock and then send it off straight away. And that's one of the things about Amazon, is that why it's usually popular is because of the fast delivery. More often than not, people have experienced delivery within 1-2 days at the very most, if you're in the US, of course, and maybe even sooner than that. It all depends, but they deliver on their on their times. The other thing with when you're Amazon, so when you're an FBA, they call it a fulfillment by Amazon, so FBA seller. You're kind of given first preference, and like they treat you a lot better than if you're actually an FBM, which is actually fulfillment by merchant, which is kind of yourself. It's you. So what you're literally doing is you're getting your supplier to actually send out the product for you on your behalf. So kind of like drop shipping, right? And but the thing is with Amazon, they can't guarantee the delivery times because it's all been handled by you. And sometimes it's actually it works against you when it comes to Amazon. But you'll find that you'll get like special preferences when it comes to being an FBA member or seller, I should say. What have we got here? You have opened my eyes to so many things behind the scenes of drop shipping. Yeah, look, it's a huge monster, right? Like drop shipping or e-commerce in itself is a huge monster. It is. There's so many different platforms out there that all they guarantee they can do this for you and can do that for you. But it is actually all about sifting through the different things because a lot of these platforms are actually advertising extensively in order to get your business, if you like. And I've known with this one here, with this platform in particular, with Chris Malta, he is a very genuine founder, and he prefers to, like, if there's any support to be done, he prefers to actually do it directly with with his clients or with his the people that are actually members of his platform. So that's a real huge benefit, and very down to earth too as well. So, and this is a founder that's probably a multi-millionaire, if not maybe a billionaire, but because he's been doing it for such a long time. As you can see here, they've got different locations too as well. So I'm in New Zealand, and something like this here, I'm not too sure what this is. It looks like a health product or something. Cannon Balm, Australia. So something like that, I could actually just drop ship in say, for instance, in Australia or even in New Zealand, right? Because it's nice and close. There's quite a few there, actually. There's alcohol tea bombs. Not really sure what that is, but anyway. So you've got a bit of a list down here. If I went on to drop shipping only, then I'm just going to get drop shipping items, right? So I'm going to get companies or businesses that actually just drop ship, but they drop ship as well. They probably wholesale as well as drop ship, and they probably have a B2B type sort of a setup as well. But that's what you're going to get as soon as you actually put on select the drop shippers. Now, You can actually, I guess here you've got USA only or Canada, which is very, very handy because sometimes like drop shipping from the USA into Canada can be expensive. So if you want to try and keep costs down and you want to find a supplier within Canada, then this is ideal to select that one. And of course here we've got, if it's for online stores or Amazon or eBay. So if I selected Amazon, maybe deselect that one. Okay, we could probably leave that on, maybe. By default, or okay, so we'll leave that one on. So these like they actually deal with Amazon products. So what that could mean is that they may be able to do in terms of the packaging, they might be able to do that for you, do the packaging for you. Yeah, so the other thing about fulfillment centers, like they can do the packaging, but they can also do the delivery. So if you are a FBM fulfillment by merchant, then these guys can actually do it for you. They can actually send the product, kind of like Amazon. But the bonus with Amazon is that if you're an FBM, they actually deal with all the refunds and the complaints too, by the way. So they deal with all that. Of course, when it comes to refunds, you have to actually pay for the refund. But what they will do is they'll handle the phone calls or the messages from people who actually are wanting a refund. And it could be a refund for any particular reason. It could be they decided they don't want it anymore, and you know, they thought they were getting this product, but they didn't realize they were going to get something quite different. All those sorts of things. But that also comes down to your listing. If your listing is like a wee bit sort of like ambiguous, if you like, it's sort of not quite the right product, but the wrong color, that sort of thing. So that can actually happen often in this game. So they will deal with all those, and then they'll just alert you or notify you about the action that needs to be taken, and then you just you just obviously put that into action, initiate it, and then that way then you keep their customers happy, because that's what they're mostly worried about, is that you keep, because they are their customers at the end of the day. They are yours, but they pretty much, the database pretty much belongs to Amazon in a lot of ways. So and that's kind of like the downfall with Amazon, is that it's not exactly your client base. So if you wanted to retarget or remarket at some other stage other than using Amazon, it may be a little bit sort of challenging to be able to do that, right? Yeah, so it always pays to actually have your own website anyway, as well as if you want to do Amazon sales or eBay sales. I found eBay sales a lot more easier rather than Amazon. Let me just select that and deselect Amazon. So there are a lot of eBay suppliers as well. Often they will probably be the same suppliers that actually supply to Amazon as well. And then, of course, you've got all your different categories down here. Now, when you're talking about Amazon, you can literally buy anything, or you can actually sell anything from there. So if I were to go in there, I think there's even like a flat pack type sort of what do they call it? Tiny homes, right? You buy it, it gets delivered, and then it kind of just folds out, and you all of a sudden you've got this tiny home, and those are becoming very hugely popular as well at the moment, because a lot of people, especially here in our country, I guess housing is a real huge problem as the population gets bigger, and then we also get people coming in from overseas as well, which also can increase our population. So you literally can buy anything on Amazon. So if I was to look at vehicles and parts and accessories, okay, so these are pretty much what you would get. And these are kind of like, that's in Canada. Let's go any. So these are kind of small objects. I do recommend, if you're going to get into selling on Amazon, is actually go for nice sort of smaller objects, because one of the biggest things is they're lighter in terms of weight, and they're a lot more easier to actually courier, if you like. and so the courier side will be cheaper as well. But if you start going into bigger products like weight sets, home gyms, all that sort of thing, then you can expect the prices to really increase. But your sell price should be more than enough to actually for you to profit from. So in some ways, it's a good thing. In other ways, it's probably not such a good idea, especially if you're just entering into this whole online drop shipping strategy, if you like. Depending on your niche, you've definitely got it here. They also have supplements and nutrition as well. More often than not, these products you might be able to white label. Some you may not be able to, but you just got to look and you go into the supplier. So if you have a look at the full details, go on there, you get more information about it. So this is Infinity Creations. They're actually situated in Utah. What else does it say here? So they're the dropship supplier. They're a light bulk supplier, works with eBay sellers and works with Amazon sellers. So that's a really good, cool thing. Let me just have a quick look here. So they've got brand names. So brand names, I don't think you'd be able to white label this one. They've got a whole run of their the whole list of their products, which is really cool. There's quite a lot in there. What else have they got? Minimum first order. Yeah, sometimes you have to actually meet the requirements. So minimum first order is probably something that you have to meet with some of these drop shippers. Some of them actually don't have a minimum. So they're often the better ones to go for. This is kind of a tricky one to get into when it comes to health products and suppliers. Health products. What is this called? What's the category here? Can't remember now. Yeah, well, it's basically health products, supplements and nutrition. So it's a bit of a tricky one. You will really need to do your homework on that, and if you're going to enter into that sort of thing, because there's so many different requirements around that, especially when it comes to Amazon. This kind of thing here, when it comes to Amazon, you would need to have it have it gated gated in order to actually sell it. They won't let you sell these sorts of products straight off the bat. You will need to go through a whole process to actually convince them that you're eligible or you're able, and I guess able, or what's another word for it? They want to see a track record. Like they want to see what your involvement has been in these types of products. Have you sold them before? Normally they will ask for the last 10 transactions that you've done on whatever site that you sold them on. They ask for the invoice, or not so much the invoice, but the actual paid invoice. They don't want sales documents. You can't actually send a sales document to them. They'll actually they won't authorize it. It needs to be a paid invoice so that it shows that that you've actually paid for the product that's been delivered. And that's the thing when it comes to Amazon. You need to make sure, especially if you get into these products, especially like you've got this one here. I think this is a massager. Kind of looks like one. Yep. That there comes under health and beauty, and health and beauty is a gated category. So you actually need to get a clearance. You need to get a clearance to actually sell that from an Amazon. eBay is not so bad, well. The last time I experienced it wasn't as bad as Amazon when it comes to that sort of thing. But definitely with Amazon, I know with any health products, even with toys is another one. And you might ask, why on earth toys? I mean, they're just, they're for kids. The thing with toys is that some of the toys, like say, for instance, Lego, like a child could choke on them, like an infant could choke on them if they swallowed them, if they tried to put it in their mouth and swallow it. That's one of the reasons why they have it gated. Because it becomes a risk, a health risk, And so this is why they need to have a track record of you selling this sort of stuff. Okay, so if you don't have that, then it's likely you're not going to actually be able to be eligible to actually sell it. But I'm kind of going through maybe some of the requirements that Amazon has. But look, this is all about walking through this whole sort of like directory, and you've got a lot of different, I guess, things that you can actually tap into in terms of large volume, especially with the liquidation wholesalers. If that's something that, let's just say you're a brick and mortar retail shop, and one of the things is selling stuff that are actually a mixture of stuff, then this might be a good one when it comes to liquidation. Also options. So you've got the liquidation wholesalers, which are kind of like the same, the one price. Obviously, whatever price they make it is that price. But if you want to do the auction side of it, you basically go onto a platform and you just bid. You bid, and the highest bidder obviously gets it by the time the auction is actually finished. So that's where that comes on. And of course, large volumes is when, very similar to sending them to like Amazon requirements in terms of sending a large volume to Amazon. Now, one of the things I want to say, and I know I'm actually sort of going off subject a wee bit, but it's all to do with the same sort of thing, right? Because when you're buying from some of these suppliers, and you're buying because you actually want to sell on Amazon or eBay, you got to make sure that there is a market for it. Right? You need to make sure that there is a market for it, because if you haven't done your homework on that, then you could be stuck with product in Amazon in storage, and after a while, if you can't move that product, Amazon will send you a note. They will send you a message to say that you need to you've got like 90 days or 30 days or 60 days to actually get rid of your stock. If not, you're going to be charged. And more often than not, the storage fee can be quite hefty, because initially you're not charged for storage fee when your product goes in there. And generally the reason why is because they, if you've got the right product, they'll just fly off the shelf. But if you've got the wrong product, or if you've got something that's sort of kind of done its phase and it's kind of just going out of trend now and no one's really buying it, then you're stuck with product. Now, what actually happens is you can do one of a few things. One, they give you the option for you to actually get the product sent back to you. Obviously, if you've got it from a supplier, you probably won't be able to sort of get a refund on it or get it sent back to them. Or the other option is that they can dispose of it, or I think what they call it, I forgot the word what they call it, but they will get rid of it for you. And that would be at a cost to you, but more often the cost is less than actually getting it sent back to the supplier, paying for courier and all that sort of thing. However, they actually don't really get rid of it. It kind of goes into what they call into that sort of wholesale pallets that I was just talking about. They'll go into that and they'll sell those pallets off to people who are looking to buy them. So that's how that works. They actually don't really get rid of the product, like they don't destroy it or anything like that. They actually resell it, if you like. I think is probably the best word for it, because they'll resell it to people who are willing to pay so much money, obviously, if it was an auction for the highest bidder, and if it was a set price to whoever wants to buy it or get in first. But a lot of the times the products are all mixed up. You don't know what you're getting. They might give you a bit of an idea, but a lot of them are actually on pallets, wrapped in cellophane and ready to ship off. All right, so where we got here? Let me just we'll go to go over this for a wee bit. Let's go into getting started. All right, the one thing I like about this is they do actually have, he does actually have, I should say, he does actually have some really good videos. And if this is something new to you, then maybe hook onto these tutorials if you like. This one's only about 11.5 minutes long, but it'll give you a proper guide of how to actually use the site, how to actually utilize it to to sell on your online, whether it be on Amazon or eBay or on your website. Okay. Setting up wholesale accounts, really important. You should actually have some guidance on that, because a lot of the times when it comes to setting up wholesale accounts, there are huge requirements. One of them is you need, especially in the US, you need to have a seller's certificate. And a lot of the times when you're dealing with wholesalers, you have to be an LLC or a limited liability company, at least that. And so those are the things that you would need to do even before you even start making money. Sometimes in this game, you can do drop shipping off your own website, and until you start making I guess a nice income out of it, then you start looking at maybe incorporating your business or your company, and that's when most people will do it. But when you're starting out and you are dealing with some of these wholesalers, that's one thing that you will need to make sure that you do, is actually have an LLC and a seller certificate from whatever state in the US. There are some tax-free states in the US when it comes to products. I think I know I was in one in Wyoming. Was one of the ones that I is where I had my seller certificate from. But there are a few others as well. Also got a video about how to use the site. And let's just have a quick look over here. Okay, we've kind of done that. Let's go back here. Featured. This is a handy one to look at, because this is some of the featured ones. And more often than not, the featured ones, probably the most popular ones, the ones that people are getting good results on, or there's quite a few sales in that side of things. But yeah, so if you want to have a look at some of those products in there, then you can just go scroll through it or search the entire directory. All right. And over here, you've got the newest suppliers. Now, the great thing about this, when having the newest suppliers, is that there might be products there that you might be able to go kind of first to market. So if it's something that's never been sold before, or if it's a newish type of an item, this is often a good place to have a look at, because there might be something in there that people have not seen before, or it's not widely known about that particular product, and you can sort of be kind of first to market, if you like, when it comes to that. And even got like stuff from Spain as well. So Australia, Spain, US. Let me just have a quick look at this directory here. Well, it's pretty much the same as what I was looking at before, but let's go to the next page. There you go, even spa pools by the looks of it. Let me just have a quick look at that. Worldwide hot tub supplier and hot tub manufacturer. There you go. You can sell hot tubs if you want. I know you in the US kind of getting into your fall, is it? Kind of coming out of summer, getting into fall, then won't be long before you'll be into winter. This may be a good product you want to have a look at, and it's a high ticket product as well. And that's the other thing. Yes, it might be quite big and delivery and all that sort of thing. Got to take all that into account, but then the price that you're going to put on it, you got to make sure that you get a really good profit out of it, or profit margin out of it. All right, so this is in Canada. All right, so if you're in Canada, this is probably the best product, a good product to actually sell over there. I wouldn't sell it in the US because of the price difference in terms of courier fees or freight fees, I should say, would be pretty high. All right, but something in Canada, definitely, especially if you're in the general area as well. Let's have a look. And you got these little items. These are sometimes the best items. These types of socks have been around for years, or decades, I should say. That kind of like look, if you like, with the stripes. I do recall these back in the 90s or even in the 70s. And there's something probably, there's what's great about that is it's something that's actually endured the decades and still is a sellable item and people are still buying them. So that's something to look at as well. What else we got here? I'm not too sure what that is. It looks like it's the whole outfit type sort of a scenario. Jewelry. So if you want to get into the whole jewelry side of things, and as you can see here with this label here, they are actually certified suppliers. So what it often means is that they're actually reputable and very, very, I guess you can, they're suppliers that you can actually rely on, if you like, and they have a good reputation. Let's go to the next one. Not sure what that is. So let's have a quick look. All right. Okay, so this is more like a, I guess, religious items. If you're more probably like Christian items, something like that. These now the thing is that it pays not to be biased when you're actually doing online sales. It doesn't matter what you think about a particular type of religion or yeah, or even like gender. Like to be quite honest, for me, I'm just when it comes to that, I'm just not biased. I'm not biased with anything. I may not have a preference for some of these things, but at the end of the day, that is my own opinion. But there are plenty of people out there that will have a preference for it, and that's something that you need to actually also consider when you're actually selling stuff. If it's a niche that sells really well in, but it's not something that you get into yourself, but it's got a track record of actually selling high numbers, then you really want to take advantage of that, because the whole thing about e-commerce is actually just selling online. It's not about selling what you think is what you want to sell. It's more about what people want, and if there's a demand, then meet the demand. It's always good to do that. These are coming in back into style again. This whole sort of like retro or nostalgic look type sort of items. Something to consider as well, and that's in California. What we got here? Jade. Is that what I think it is? No, I don't think it is. No, that's just a Jade trading company. Let's just have a quick look. We have something that's called Jade here, which is generally greenstone. And I kind of thought that might have been it, but it's not. More jewelry. Have a look at some of these jewelry, because some of them actually would be the real McCoy. And if you can latch onto that, if that's your sort of cup of tea and that's something you think you could sell as well, then maybe look into it, because there are some quality high ticket jewelers amongst these suppliers as well. Birdie bottle, not sure what they are, but let's just have a quick look. Birdie bottle celebrates the joy of the game by bringing golfers. Okay, I see that. Golfers together with thoughtfully crafted products that blend tradition with modern designs. Will set up accounts with international retailers. So these guys would actually deal with somebody from outside of the country as well, which is always handy to know. All right, so birdie bottle. Okay, kind of a golf thing. What I know is one of the trends at the moment is actually hydrogen water bottles. So turning your water in your water bottle into hydrogen. That's become a real like a lot of people actually buying things like that. I know a lot of friends of mine that are actually buying bottles like that as well from overseas. They're getting it shipped. They're getting it on something like eBay or an overseas company. You got Cheers. Let me just have a quick look. Kind of that's like I guess it's like a trolley type thing where you can put stuff in. Not something I would probably sell when you're in the States at the moment, because that would be like a summer thing, obviously. But as you can see, there are a few things there. But it's one of those things you just look through and decide what you want to sell. But it's going to give you options, and that's the biggest thing about it, is having those options in terms of like whatever niche you may be in. And of course, when you've got connection into some of these wholesalers, because a lot of them actually don't advertise, they don't actually promote themselves online. That's not their job. They're not sellers in a sense that they're not out there to retail sell. They're actually specifically aimed for retailers or drop shippers, all those sorts of places, or all those sorts of categories, I should say. And so they're not interested in marketing themselves online. I mean, that's the job of the person that's actually the reseller, if you like. That's their job. And if they sell enough, it's all gonna come back to them anyway. So they don't really promote themselves online. So trying to find them in Google, things like that, can be a little bit difficult, because it's not their sort of priority. They just want to look after their reseller customers or clients, if you like. We have dynamic healthcare. Again, this is something, okay, certified. So this is, let me just have a quick look here. You got to really have a look at some of these. So you've got like minimum first order needs to be $200. So that is definitely something that you would probably send into eBay or into Amazon, because it's not a drop shipping item. So with a minimum of $200, it's more like an eBay or an Amazon item. Product types, lots of different product types in here. Dentist supplies, orthodontic supplies, dental roof repair supplies. These are definitely for people who are sort of kind of like the reseller to the, obviously the profession, the dentist profession or orthodontic profession. Actually, it's not a bad category to get into if that's if that's something you may want to look into, because the whole dental side of things is actually a really, really good high ticket product in more ways than one. I think what else have they got here? Prosthetic dentistry supplies. Let's just have a quick look at this site. Okay, change tabs. Products, top selling, clinical range, preventive range, restorative. Okay. And so on. Now maybe some of these are actually just smaller items, but this definitely is something like items like this to actually sell it on eBay, because it goes into the mouth and because it actually kind of represents sort of health and wellness and all that sort of thing. It is a category that you have to try and get ungated for when it comes to Amazon. And you literally have to go through hoops to actually get something like this. I remember even trying to get a hairbrush ungated because of the fact that it was come under the health and beauty category, and those categories are gated categories, so you have to actually get ungated for them. So yeah, it's not something that I kind of want to do again, but who knows? Anyway, let's go back here. All right. Another one I think is sporting goods is another one. Now, the other thing you got to watch out for, and I've actually come across this once before, only once, and that was actually I bought a product bulk load from a closeout sale and from a reputable. They went the whole, or they were the wholesaler, but they went like, oh no, they went, well, they were kind of like the wholesaler, right? And I bought a bulk load of them. They were actually back shavers. I don't know if you've ever heard of these, but they're back shavers. They're kind of like a elongated shaver with a bigger blade on it, obviously, and then you can actually shave your back, shave your own back. And I thought, what a fantastic product! It was a pretty good brand as well. I think they were the only ones that actually had them because they had patents on it. They were based in Canada, and I thought, wow, I'll get a few of these. I got quite a few actually, and I started selling them on on Amazon, and I was able to get ungated for that. And I started selling them on Amazon. And then I actually got a message from the founder of the back shaver thing, and basically told me I needed to actually take down my my promotion because it wasn't authorized, I guess, by him. I did actually mention to him that I got it from a supplier that actually is reputable for, they've got a good reputation for supplying bulk. But in his eyes, they didn't get authorization from him. And that's something that you've got to watch out for. I actually named the outfit or the company that I got it from, and he was going to look into it. But I pretty much, I had to get those disposed of. That's the word, disposed of by Amazon. And there's quite a bit of money tied up in that too, by the way. So that's the risk that you actually have as well. You run that risk. The other one is also with Amazon. Like I was selling fragrances in the past, all genuine fragrances. And I used to get emails from some of the fragrances companies, the ones that actually like the manufacturers of the fragrance, not the wholesaler. And I used to get emails from them, about my pricing. My pricing needed to be, so minimum pricing, if you like, requirement. It couldn't go below that because it was the standard pricing. So if you were below that, they would definitely let you know, and you had to readjust it. You had so much time to readjust, otherwise they could take it further. So let's just say I followed what they told me to do. So so that's another thing you got to be careful of as well. So those sorts of things, when you've actually got them in Amazon and you've got a whole bunch of them, like a large stock of them in Amazon, and if you haven't looked into it to see whether or not it's something that you can actually sell, but you find out later on, then that's you're unfortunately going to learn by your mistakes. But I'm telling you now, and this is probably a good information for you if you do think about getting into Amazon, is that you do really need to do your homework, even on the smallest products, like I just mentioned, a hairbrush or a back shaver, or even a massager, like a neck massager. All those are considered health and beauty products. Right? What else have we got here? Second Amendment ammunition. Okay, I'm not sure if that's real ammunition or whether they're just. Oh yeah, it's actually real ammunition. Okay. Achievers International. It kind of looks like a harness of some sort. It looks like for horses, maybe. Yep. So yeah, pretty much you can find anything. Again, when it comes to Amazon and categories, this would come under sort of health and fitness or fitness there's something that may probably gated that you probably need to get ungated for. So if you can sort of think about all the different categories that there are when it comes to products, you'd probably if you wanted to sell a range of products, you'd have to get ungated for quite a few categories, right? But if you're focusing on a particular niche, then you just focus on getting ungated for that type of niche. So if it's health and beauty, then focus on that, and then in whatever in that range of health and beauty you can sell. Same goes for things like supplements and nutrition. Consumer electronics, those are considered to be general and electronics. Crafts and supplies, pretty much the same as well. Shoes and accessories, the same. Books, movies, blah, 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 they're the same as well. Babies, probably not. They will be gated as well. So baby and maternity, especially if it's like baby equipment, like diaper bags or backpacks and, just different things, and rattles and, pacifiers and teething products and all that sort of thing. They will definitely need to come under that whole sort of, that whole sort of system of actually getting them ungated. And like I said, what I mentioned before, if you've forgotten already, is that generally they will ask you for proof of sales that you've actually done in the past. And if you haven't done them whatsoever, then you're unlikely to get ungated for those particular products. Food and drink would be the same, because that's the whole FDA, requirements when it comes to that. I'm not sure about the mature adult audiences one. I would say it would be. That would be something that you would have to get ungated for. Office school. So really, I mean, pet supplies, I think that one's okay. But really, there are a few categories in there that you can actually choose from, but you're very limited on some of the others as well. But, like if you want to get your feet wet and give it a go, I mean, because other people are doing it, right? So they would have gone through the same process as what I've just explained. And if they're doing it, there's no reason why you can't do it. You just got to make sure that you put some care into choosing your niche, your category, and making sure that your product is something that you're allowed to sell as well. And making sure that you, when it comes to the suppliers or the manufacturers of these products, that you meet kind of like the pricing requirements and all those sorts of things, the minimum pricing requirements. So definitely something, a lot of homework to do. But once you get into that sort of like, once you get into that, so the whole Amazon side of things, and I've given you sort of the, the cons of Amazon and eBay, well, mostly Amazon. But some of the, the pros of being on Amazon is that if you've got the right product and it sells like hotcakes, you stand to make a lot of money. All right, you definitely stand to make a lot of money. And I've actually mentioned this to some of the people here in the chat here before, and that is I've sold things like steel wool. And if you know what steel wool is, it's kind of like it's actually like steel wool, right? And I sold a bunch of those. I probably bought packets of those for like about 36 cents, and sold them for like $2-3 a pack. And obviously they're nice and light, so I bought a whole bunch of them, got them packaged properly, blah blah blah. Got it into Amazon's stock, and I pretty much ran out of stock, and it got to the point I couldn't even buy any more because the actual supply ran out. The other one was chalk, white chalk, by the way. And so chalk is actually not just for like kids or teachers or anything like that, but also for engineers, all those sorts of people. And I was selling a lot of those until the point that I was getting some complaints about them breaking or receiving them broken. Obviously, chalk, if it's dropped or whatever, it's probably going to break, right? So I actually ditched that idea and I stopped buying. I stopped selling those. So and just one more was actually scoops like scooping wheat and all that sort of thing, or flour. But the difference with this one here, it actually had measurements on the inside of the scoop. Others didn't, and this actually had measurements, so it was a lot easier to tell how much you were getting out. And they sold like hotcakes, so much so I ran out of. I couldn't actually buy them anywhere in the world, nowhere in the world. So there was. So that's another thing too as well. They sell really well. Make sure that you can. The stock has always been replenished by the manufacturer or the supplier, because the one thing you don't want is that when you're selling on Amazon and all of a sudden you run out of product, and you're that's kind of like your main product that's selling, and that's all you got to rely on, then automatically your income stops just like that, right? So it always pays to actually have a range of different products when you're selling on Amazon. But remember about the whole stock thing. Make sure there's plenty of stock to go so when you actually refill. And the thing is, don't wait till you actually get to probably your last 10 products before you refill. Always do it when you're probably into your last maybe 3 packages of like cartridge. What do you call it? Boxes of actual product, because of the timing of when. By the time of the timing of when you're down to your last sort of, say, maybe a few cartons or whatever of product, to the time that you actually receive it into Amazon, could be about 2 to 3 weeks, right? So you really need to make sure that you've got to actually order beforehand. Don't wait till you run out, because that means then your shop is on hold until that product comes in. And more often than not, people will go looking somewhere else, and you lose that customer. All right, look, I'm going to stop it there because I think that's more than enough. Have you got any questions? Just put them in the chat. Like I'm kind of giving you my experience when it comes down to dealing with wholesalers, as well as dealing with like Amazon or eBay. And you probably saw that I kind of went on about Amazon a lot in terms of what the requirements are, only because I have had people wanting to get into Amazon before and asked me about it, and I've actually told them what to expect. And if they don't, how would I say it? If they're not up to it, like if it's something that they can't see themselves, like that they're not confident in doing, then 9 times out of 10, what I tell them is going to probably put them off. But it's probably better to actually put them off and them making an expensive mistake, rather than not doing it and not wasting their money or their stock. So definitely something that you need to think about if you're going to get into Amazon. It's not as simple as just signing up to Amazon as a seller. If you want to do something when it comes to Amazon, and they're very stringent on this, and I'm actually a what would you call it, a affiliate or partner of Amazon. So I can actually, anybody's product that's on Amazon, I can sell it. I can use like affiliate marketing strategies, funnels, all that sort of stuff, blogs, and to sell that product to lead back to the Amazon site. And you can make some good money like that as well, but the percentage can be low, depending on what category it's in. But it is a way to make money. I do know somebody who actually does promoting products off Amazon, in a sense that he does videos. He's not actually showing his face, but he's actually doing like a review or video on the product, Amazon product. And I think he's kind of making something like about close to $1,000 a day doing that, US dollars, that is. He's been in it now for probably about a year, but it is really, really difficult to get into that one. They don't just let anybody or everybody sign up for that. They're very stringent on that as well. Okay, I think I've shown this one before. have opened my eyes. So many things behind the scenes of drop shipping. Absolutely. Actually, drop shipping is actually far better than selling on. In a lot of ways, it might be harder to actually get to initially get sales, but in a lot of ways, it's actually better because you actually avoid all those other stuff that I just mentioned before. So drop shipping is probably a lot more easier than actually selling on Amazon, to be quite honest. But the thing that comes with Amazon, you've got an immediate audience, right? You've got people traffic right there. And if you're willing to sign up to some of Amazon's paid ads type sort of a scenario, paid promotions, then, and I do recommend that, especially if you're going to start out on Amazon, is maybe do something like that with Amazon, because they will actually put you in the sort of like feature you on Amazon. Because when you think about it, I think the last time I checked, there was like about and that was a few years ago, there were about 3 billion products on Amazon. You can imagine just how many suppliers there are. So, to stand out from the rest is going to be very, very challenging. And that in itself is all about SEO as well. I kind of like the idea of being an affiliate partner where I can just write a blog about a product and all that, have some links in my blog, and they can actually go back to Amazon. But you've got to do that really well, okay? It's not something you can just write a blog about and then expect somebody's going to pick up on it and then they're just going to buy. It needs to be something that's that people you've invested their interest into it, and that they're sold before they even click on the link to go to where they can get the product. So at the end of the day, that can be a little bit challenging as well when you're first starting out, but there are a lot of people doing it, and you, like anything else, the more you do it, the better you get at it, right? So that's what that's all about. I don't think there's any questions in there. Tyler, thank you for sharing this directory, Peter. It is appreciated. I do recommend try out the free preview first. I'm not sure how long that goes for. No, it's not that long, I don't think. It's not something like about 14 days or anything like that. But try it out, see what you think. It is just a directory, right? It's not a platform where you can sell stuff off, but it puts you in connection with suppliers or wholesalers or manufacturers that you never would have been able to connect with before. I saw that there were a lot of certified that certified this. Are you talking about these, Nancy, the certified ones here? So in a lot of ways is that supplier is certified. So it's a supplier that you could depend on if you like. They also have a minimum in terms of pricing. So it's not exactly something that you can drop ship, right? Unless you're willing to take on that cost, have it stored at maybe a fulfillment center or warehouse or whatever, or you have it sent to your premises and then you take care of the delivery, which can be cumbersome. And the whole reason to get into this sort of game is to have an income that's sort of auto-generated rather than having to be part manual and then part auto-generated. So, not something that I would suggest. Oh, sorry. Actually, I didn't show my screen. Yeah. So when you're talking about the certified here, I think that's what you call. Yeah. So basically, they're certified to sell their product. They're actually a vetted business as well. If you have a look at some things like Alibaba, they have different sort of star ratings when it comes to some of the sellers and how many years that they've been in business and all that sort of thing. Alibaba does a good job of actually vetting the suppliers or vendors that they actually allow to sign up. I have actually bought bigger items from there. I've bought trailers from Alibaba, come all the way from China to New Zealand. I kind of learned on the way some of the pitfalls when it comes to actually importing bigger items. So yeah, those are the sorts of things. So I pretty much kind of had a bit of experience in a whole different sort of across the board type, if you like, in terms when it comes to e-commerce. Anyway, I'm going to stop it there because we have gone a little bit over time, and there doesn't seem to be any questions. So all good. But once again, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next week. And bye for now.
You gotta get into the groove.